Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Miss May. Today's video is going to be a video focusing on eating healthy. So recently I've been filming a lot of shop with me videos in Whole Foods, Costco, Trader Joe's, and trying to eat healthy but also delicious food, and we're hunting down the items that doesn't have any harmful ingredients. And some of you may be confused of like what I avoid and what I try to avoid. So in today's video I want to give you a list of ingredients trying my best to avoid when shopping at grocery store. So hopefully this list can help you out when trying to shop healthy and eating healthy. Ingredients that I try my best to avoid, but it's really impossible to avoid all of them at the same time. So I just want to say that it's okay to eat them here and there as long as you don't really binge and eat them a lot. And I also think that nutrition is very individualized, so always talk to your doctor in terms of what you should put into your body and what you shouldn't. So the first ingredient that I try my best to avoid as much as possible, especially shopping at the grocery store, is sodium nitrite. And you will see this ingredient listed in a lot of the deli meat and the sausage, bacon. Sodium nitrite is frequently found in processed meat, and it acts as a preservative to prevent the growth of bacteria while also adding a salty flavor and a really nice pinkish color. So it will preserve the deli meat or processed meat to look very fresh. But in reality, this compound can have a lot of negative effect on your health, especially it's linked to the stomach cancer and other breast and bladder cancer and other types of cancers. So definitely this is an ingredient that's not necessary in our body, and definitely avoid at all costs. And also in terms of sodium nitrite, it may be found naturally when we preserve food ourselves. So if you cook like meal prep, or if you have leftovers, and slowly it will develop sodium nitrite as there are different like sodium and other compounds. So when you meal prep, try to meal prep 3 to 4 days, no longer than 5 days. So definitely don't meal prep for the whole week, just meal prep for 3 to 4 days and then cook again. So when I meal prep, I usually meal prep for 3 days, meal prep twice a week instead of once per week, because that also increases the likelihood of your leftover or your food developing sodium nitrite naturally, and those are really bad and associate with cancers. Try to avoid as much as possible when it comes to processed. Okay, this one is from Central Market. It's also a H-E-B brand, but it's fancy. It's also a bacon item. Look at this fat, it looks super good. But let's take a look at the ingredient list. Guess what's missing? There is no sodium nitrite. It just speaks that it's not a necessary ingredient. It's just like in a cheaper brand or cheaper version of the brand. But look, this one is Miss Ming approved. No sodium nitrite. So this one is approved. The next ingredient, I just have to say it out there because it's actually commonly used in my culture, or foods in my culture, and that is monosodium glutamate, MSG. So MSG may take different forms, but the forms that I'm talking about is the synthetic MSGs. And I just can't believe it's actually alarming. It's present in chips, it's present in like sauce, it's present in like almost everything. Actually, it's present in a lot of natural foods such as tomatoes, such as mushrooms, and soy sauce has some natural occurrence of MSG, and that's why they taste good. But synthetic MSG is really bad. It's actually trick your brain receptors, and it will cause a lot of problems like weight gain, high blood pressure, metabolic symptoms. If you eat a lot of food with MSG and then you turn around and eat food that doesn't have it, it's not going to satisfy your cravings as much because your brain is just so tricked by this brain receptor, by this MSG compound, that eating natural food doesn't satisfy your cravings. So you just keep wanting food with MSG. Long story short, try to always avoid MSG, whether it's in chips, whether it's in like Chinese food or sauce or stuff like that. And if you eat it once in a while, it's probably not gonna kill you. It's just that repetitive consumption of MSG that's really alarming. It's really bad for your blood pressure and overall health in general. Try to avoid it as much as you can. Speaking of additives, another ingredient to avoid as much as possible is food coloring. It is so bad for you, and food coloring is actually banned in a lot of countries, but not in America. So when you look at like different juice or chips or other things, it's just crazy how much food coloring they put into the products just to make it look appealing. And honestly, like previously when I ate Chinese food with my friend, I was telling them never order that egg drop soup when it looks super yellow. It's crazy that I've been eating egg drop soup in my entire life in China, and then I came to America, and the egg drop soup in America looks so different from the egg drop soup that I had in China. And I've heard customers complaining that the soup doesn't look yellow enough, to the point that the waitress went back and added more food coloring into the soup. It's just blowing my mind. Avoid food coloring as much as possible. It's associated with hyperactivity. It's also potentially cancer causing. So there is no need for your food to look certain color. It's just crazy to me that like egg drop soup in China doesn't look yellow versus the egg drop soup in American Chinese food. It looks so yellow to the point that the first time I ordered it, never again. But I know that some restaurants, they keep the traditional recipe that doesn't involve food coloring, but it's just crazy to me, like lemon chicken in the lemon sauce, food coloring. Let's take a look at Cheetos, one of my favorite snacks, but you know what, never again. Because look at vegetable oil, sulfate, the enriched cornmeal is no good, and the vegetable oil blend is no good. And guess what? Monosodium glutamate, MSG, that's why it's so addictive. And it also has artificial color, yellow 6. Avoid this item. So Trader Joe's actually has like a healthier version of Cheetos. It doesn't use the best oil, but still better than this. Like avoid MSG and avoid the food colorings, and it's just not healthy. Avoid. All right, one of our famous snacks, Takis. It tastes really good, but you know why it tastes good? Let's take a look at the ingredient list. I hate to ruin this for you, but monosodium glutamate, that's MSG. And it also has artificial flavor and color, the red 40 and yellow 6. This is no good. Another way to try to eat a little bit better is this like classic potato chips. Not healthy because of the oil they use, not healthy. But they don't have MSG or food coloring or other things. But again, sunflower oil, soybean oil, corn, not good. Especially it's not like non-GMO. But still, it's a little bit cleaner. But try to avoid this vegetable oil blend as much as you can, just because it has too much omega-6 fatty acids. It's inflammatory to your body if you over consume them. Another ingredient to avoid as much as possible is the artificial sweetener, and this is a family group of things. I've listed a lot of them on the screen. So the reasons why we want to avoid artificial sweeteners is different. For some of these artificial sweeteners, the concern is cancer related. Indeed, some of these have shown to be linked to increased likelihood of cancer. Versus other ones, they're not necessarily cancer related, but some of them also spike your glucose level. So even though they're calorie free, they're still not very safe, especially for people with diabetes. So instead, try to choose the natural sweeteners such as erythritol, stevia, monk fruit, and things like that. Also a disclaimer, just because erythritols are generally safe doesn't mean that you can eat it as much as possible, because overdose on the erythritols and stuff may also bad for your microbiome in your bowels, so it may also ruin your digestive system, so moderation is key. Similarly, if you consume food or drinks that contains artificial sweeteners once in a while, it's not gonna kill you. It's really because a lot of these diet drinks, they have no calories, so a lot of people consume these diet drinks that has artificial sweeteners as a replacement as water. That's where the problem lies. While we try to avoid the consumption of these questionable ingredients as much as we can, but just remember that moderation is the key. Once in a while, these ingredients are considered safe. It's the repetitive intake of this every single day that cause cancer and other long-term effects. All right, let's take a look at these drinks that has low carbs. The first one, look at this, sucralose. Sucralose causes cancer. It's not a good type of sugar replacement. This one, it actually, I believe they use erythritol. It says right here, erythritol is a little bit better. Look at this diet sweet tea. Take a look at the ingredient list. What do they use to sweeten it? Sucralosa. It's not healthy. Actually, this is Spanish. But if you take a look at it English, sucralose, no good. Natural flavor. This is not healthy. just get the unsweet one and you use monk fruit or stevia, it's better. Try to avoid things with sucralose in there because it's synthetic sweetener, artificial sweetener. The next ingredients to avoid, I think a lot of you guys know about it, is the high fructose corn syrup. Coming from a different country, I felt like in our soda there is no high fructose corn syrup versus after I joined America, I started to notice certain things tasted sweeter even though it's from the same brand. And I look at the ingredients, like literally the same Coke or same soda from other countries, it says sugar, versus in America, it's corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup. It's been linked to weight gain and diabetes, and 1 in 3 people in America are pre-diabetic or diabetic. Highly inflammatory in your cells in the body, and it just increases your glucose level like no other. So it may cause cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and all these bad things. And just go with natural fruit. They're sweet enough. They're the nature's candies. And it's even in the juice items like this. If you take a look at this peach juice from the concentrates, water, high fructose corn syrup, peach puree. This is terrible, so put it back. Let's take a look at this zero sugar coffee mate creamer. Let's take a look. The first ingredient, water, oh my gosh, corn syrup, vegetable oil. Even though it is sugar-free, it has corn syrup. That's terrible. So if you look at the gummy bears ingredient, corn syrup before sugar, and vegetable oils. At least get like normal sugar, not the corn syrup. Another reason this item is bad is that it has yellow 5, red 40, blue 1, and yellow 6. That's a lot of food coloring in one item. The next ingredient to avoid at all costs is hydrogenated vegetable oil. So we actually learned it in high school with the sodium nitrite. We also learned that fact in high school in China. So basically, hydrogenated vegetable oil is really bad for you because it basically changed the organic structure of the fat by putting that hydrogen chain to it, and to the fact that your body cannot process it. It basically just becomes this bad cholesterol trans fat. And it's just so bad. It's like associated with like very high risk of heart disease and diabetes. It also causes inflammation in the body. So it's just crazy to me that they add this particular thing as an ingredient to the food that we consume. Let's take a look at this coffee creamer. These are powder creamer. Look at this, corn syrup, solids, hydrogenated vegetable oil. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. Avoid this. It's basically a combination of all of the bad ingredients. If you want a creamer item, like look at this, ingredients, organic milk, organic cream, and that's it. So try to get things that just has like pure ingredients as a coffee creamer instead of like those like super artificial flavored coffee creamer with all the bad ingredients. So just get a normal half and half, ideally organic or regular. It's really bad. So we learned it in high school that always avoid hydrogenated vegetable oil, and it's usually predominantly in ice cream or in anything that with fat like creamers, or like sometimes even in like heavy cream or cream product, the fridge aisle, in the dairy aisle, so or even non-dairy aisle like the vegetable oil. So avoid at all costs. Like it's not good for you. It's basically the fat you can't process, and slowly it's just gonna cause like inflammatory heart disease and other bad disease in the body. Similarly to sodium nitrite, another preservative that's commonly used in other types of foods such as carbonated drinks, acidic foods, salad dressings, and stuff like that is called sodium benzoate. So sodium benzoate is also a preservative, and it's recognized as safe at FDA, but there are definitely side effects. Sodium benzoate and artificial coloring is found to associate with hyperactivity in children. Because these appear to be healthy items, have those bad ingredients that may actually does the opposite. And when combined with vitamin C, sodium benzoate may actually turn into another compound that causes cancer development in human bodies. So when shopping for beverages or these things with preservatives, always check the list to see if it has sodium benzoate and avoid it as much as you can. So this is a sugar-free syrup. I'm pretty sure Starbucks uses this. Look at the ingredient list. Sodium benzoate. Avoid these ingredients because It's a cancer-causing ingredient, so avoid that. And then this one, the gum, if you eat with moderation, that's not too bad. But yeah, this is definitely not clean, not healthy. Also, if you check out the ingredient list, it also has azosulfame potassium, which is also an artificial sweetener, which is really bad for your gut health. So avoid this item. And it also has sucralose, which is also another bad thing. So this item, not healthy. Sugar-free syrup, not entirely healthy. Speaking of oil, another ingredient that I always try to avoid is canola oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, and palm oil. So the reason why I avoid this oil, well, for the first reason is because these vegetable oils are highly processed with high heat. Typically, when you process oil that's unsaturated, a lot of times they're not very stable, and when you process it with high heat, it's gonna change the organic structure. Basically, you're adding a hydrogen chain, especially if you do it with the presence of oxygen and water, it would just become hydrogenated vegetable oil. If not, the high heat will still break the chain of those great unsaturated oil, and it just becomes unhealthy, and it's gonna probably cause heart disease and other problems and cholesterol problems. So in addition to the way we process canola oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, is also the presence of omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-6 fatty acid is actually not bad for you. It's actually very essential to our body, but the problem is in American diet, we overeat omega-6 fatty acids and we don't eat enough omega-3 fatty acid, which is present in salmon, fish oil, and things like that. So when you overconsume omega-6 and when you don't have omega-3, that causes a lot of problems, especially inflammation in our body. So the reason why I avoid canola oil, safflower oil, soybean oil, is because first of all, these vegetable oils are highly processed with high heat, and second reason is because it's basically overconsumption of omega-6 fatty acid. But there is a break here, is that sometimes among those like fancy chips, like when you shop at Whole Foods, you will see that they use the expeller pressed canola oil or expeller pressed sunflower oil, safflower oil. Those are better because the way they processed it. And like I said, with omega-6 fatty acid, it's actually essential to our health. It's just the overconsumption of omega-6 fatty acid is problematic. So if you're just eating like canola or sunflower oil here and there, and especially if it's expeller pressed, it's not gonna kill you. It's not gonna like cause cancer as much as the other ingredients that I talked about in today's video. It's really the fact that we're over consuming these fatty acids and also the way it's processed. So try to choose the expeller pressed canola oil or safflower oil when you have no other choice, and always eat fish, salmon, like omega-3 fish oil. And if you just eat omega-6 fatty acid here and there, it's not gonna be that bad if you just eat it once in a while. So every time I go to the grocery store and look at the ingredient list, I always buy 1 or 2 items that has the sunflower or canola oil. But because I know, like, I cook with avocado oil, I cook with olive oil, and also I try to do like coconut oil when I buy snacks. If I have snacks here and there that has sunflower oil or canola oil, it's not gonna kill me, and I try to choose the ones that says expeller pressed because those are not as bad. Alright guys, I used to use this item a lot because it actually tastes really good. I love that buttery taste, but if you take a look, it's actually not from butter. It's soybean and palm oil, sugar, hydrogenated palm oil. That's trans fat. And the gum is not good if you overeat it. And you know what's this? Sucralose. Sucralose is super terrible. Artificial sweeteners, terrible. Put it back. This is basically the definition of one item has all of the ingredients to avoid. Just get like real butter and then make it yourself. The next ingredient that I try to avoid is carrageenan, if I said it right or wrong. So basically this carrageenan is a preservative in a lot of food, especially in dairy, creamer, milk, cheese, especially dairy-free cheese, vegan cheese. So this is also another item that I felt like I try to avoid as much as I can. It's not gonna kill me if I eat it once in a while. The reason why carrageenan is bad is because it triggers inflammation. It also increases your fasting blood sugar and glucose intolerant, which actually is something that I am mindful for. So I felt like for the longest time I didn't know what it was, and I was trying to eat low carb diet. But even with food that doesn't have like carbs, even with like milk product, dairy product, like if they add carrageenan in there, it's not good for you, and it also negatively impacts your digestive health. Avoid carrageenan as much as possible. It doesn't need to be there, but if you have it once, it's not going to kill you. It's just that repetitive consumption of this not necessary ingredient that may actually cause a lot of problems, especially diabetes and other health problems, inflammations, digestive problems, and especially if you're already like lactose intolerant, avoid it at all costs. All right, this is an item that I used to drink when I was younger, but ever since I started reading ingredient lists, let's take a look. It does have low-fat milk sugar, but take a look. It's carrageenan. That's not good for you. It also has a ton of food coloring, which I don't understand since it's not in a clear bottle. So I don't understand what's the need of putting food coloring into this bottle. Yeah, avoid this non-dairy creamer. Look at this palm oil. At least they don't have the hydrogenated vegetable oil. At least it's not hydrogenated. But sadly, it does have carrageenan, which is not good. You look at this ice cream, it's still not clean. Other than a lot of sugar, it does have coconut oil, which is great, but it has corn syrup, and guess what? They have the carrageenan. Alrighty, that's it for today's video. I hope this video can be helpful to you while choosing products in a grocery store. There are definitely ingredients that are really, really bad. I avoid at all costs. There are also ingredients like sunflower oil that I eat it once in a while, not gonna be too bad for me. I try to eat organic as much as I can, but it's just very, very expensive. I try my best to eat healthy, but once in a while indulgent, it's not gonna kill you. It's really to find that happy balance of try to avoid these harmful ingredients as much as possible and try to eat healthy ingredients. Exercise every single day, get enough sleep, drink a lot of water, and be happy and healthy. Alrighty, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe and share this video to your family and friends who's trying to eat healthy as well. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye-bye. Adios.